You don't see me hunting aliens out here because we know they're real. See, that's just what the government wants you to think. Yo, okay, 5D. See, that's just what the government wants you to think. It's easier for them to come up with their secret research programs, but they trick everyone into thinking that aliens are behind abductions and the UFO sightings and all that weird stuff. I mean, I do actually think, like, that, like, a lot of the declassified government alien stuff, what was that? That was in, like, 2019, right? It felt like a distraction. So, like, I am actually that conspiracy theorist. But, yeah. Sure, the government does messed up stuff on the daily, but the way I see it, I have about as much control over them as I would extraterrestrial beings. So if I have no control over these things, I might as well choose to think it's aliens all this time and let a little joy to my heart, you know? Besides, it's not like it matters which of us is right, or if either of us is right. I'll die one day and so will you, and eventually there'll be no one left who remembers us and what we did in our lifetimes. Damn. I mean, you have disarmed me with your nihilism, and now I feel an empty pit in my soul at the thought of the vastness of time. Y'all, did you fucking see? If we're getting depressing and nihilistic, yesterday we crossed the first fucking, tipping point in global warming. The world's coral reefs have passed the point of no return. They are doomed. We cannot save them. So if we're getting fucking depressing, and coral reef, for anyone who doesn't know, coral reefs are like necessary for a large amount of aquatic life to survive. Like it is going to have a concrete impact on humans, soon. Like, I don't know if it'll be within our lifetime, but like at the very least within the next generation's lifetime. So if we're getting depressing and nihilistic, that's where we're at. And hey, don't worry. There's like 3 more tipping points that we're really fucking close to. The world is fucking doomed. Don't worry. Isn't there some comfort in the inherent meaninglessness of our actions? I mean, again, fucking, you know, nothing you or I do will change global warming. Like, it's all corporations and shit. So, like, I had a depressive I was supposed to do work for a video, the Halloween special. I was supposed to do that work today, and I was just depressed in bed all fucking morning because I read about the coral reef. So that's the meaninglessness of our actions. We don't have that power as individuals. Yeah, exactly. Like, we're fucked, right? Even like, you know, in some instances, like collective action or whatever can do it. But like, if every individual that isn't like a corporate CEO or whatever did what they can do, it still wouldn't be enough. Like, it's not even just like, oh, as individual, as a group, we can't do enough. Like, it's not just I can't do enough, and it's not just you can, like, all of us can't do enough. We're halfway through chapter 1 and we already hit this point. Yeah, that's where we're fucking at. That's where I've had a depressing ass month, and it's only the 14th. And I love October, right? So, I'm sorry, I don't mean to bring the mood down. It's just, I gotta be for real, you know? I gotta be for real. Has anything bad ever happened on these hikes? That is also a question I would ask in real life. You know, just curious. Let me think. It was that one time back in early high school when Reese fell down. I hate that I want to play the game, but I'm getting off on tangents, but like, I fell off a cliff once. That's Dani lore. I can't just not say that, right? Like, that happened to me. I was a camp counselor at a summer camp for mostly autism and ADHD, and
I was a counselor for, we had a program that was like the young adults program, right? For people who wanted to keep going, but were still, like, had aged out of, like, traditional summer camp. But because they were, you know, adults, they, one of them was strong enough to push me down you know, I guess, I don't know if it technically would count as a cliff. He pushed me off the path, and, like, the incline was steep enough that I couldn't stop until I hit the bottom. But it was not, like, a literal horizontal cliff. But that's the Dani lore. I promise I'll stop sidetracking. I do actually want to fucking play this game. It's really scary. Yeah, that's probably part of, like, I'm only just now making the connection, but, like, years later, my back was fucked up and I needed to get surgery. Like, I'm missing a disc in my spine. They had to take it out. That's where my, like, sciatica comes from, which is the, that's why I walk with a cane, right? And that's probably from that, or the 2 car crashes I was in. I mean, probably combined, right? Like, all of it. Like, my body took a beating between the years of, you know, 18 and 25. And then it came back to bite me. He was fine. I just realized Reese was the one who also, like... Okay, maybe this is actually on topic, because on the phone call with Reese, like, he can't come out with us, and she's like, oh, we can take the easier paths. Like, he probably also fucked up his back. We had to get some folks from town to rig up a pulley and get him out of the ravine, and his leg only took a week or 2 to heal. I mean, that's the thing, though, right? Like, that happened with me, is I thought I had recovered, and then later in life, you know, it comes up. All in all, not too bad. Though I guess there was also the time I was out here alone and kind of got stuck in a cave. I was getting great footage of what I thought was a family of Wumpus cats, but I wasn't able to wiggle my way back out. Turns out the Wumpus cats were actually skunks who very much did not appreciate me blocking the entrance to their hidey hole. Bodies are really frail, yeah. And instead of running for help, Gretchen just sat outside, bored to tears. Lassie, she's not. I object to that accusation. I might show those nasty little skunks a piece of my mind, that's what I did. And I kept Stella company, just as she would have for me if I decided to hide in the hole for hours. It took about an hour to get loose, which is pretty intense, but a few tomato juice baths later and I'm right as rain, so it could have been a lot worse. Oh, and there was the time I accidentally stumbled out into Old Duke's property and nearly got my head shot off. But that happens to everybody sooner or later. I barely count it. Stella, you've just described 2 near-death experiences back to back. Physical disabilities will stack on top of each other like debuffs. Yeah, that ain't that the fucking truth. When my wife gets home from D&D, I gotta tell her that, because that is the most relatable shit. Case. But come on! I promise it'll be fun. At least hang out long enough to film me doing my intro. It's been forever since I've had anyone to help around. I never get anybody to say yes. That's so rude. I mean, like, it's true. Like, we're not friends. I don't know. So, this is the game of tangents. This is making me think, like, because even as, like, a small YouTuber, right, I do have to deal occasionally with, like, parasocial stuff where viewers think, like, we're friends because they watch my videos, like, super loyally or whatever. I never really know how to, like, approach that and be like, hey, you know, we're not actually friends. Because it is, like, I don't know, there was a news story a week ago that was kind of a wake-up call where somebody, a streamer in, I think it was Japan, got killed by a viewer who donated $70,000 and thought they were friends. It's the inevitable I hate all these options moment. Yeah, right? I'm not risking getting... Like, some of these are definitely worse than others, right? Handle deer. When she gets like this, I usually have to pick her up and hold her. She has a bad habit of slipping off her harness when she wants to go after something.
You're too much of a potato. And they don't make harnesses to fit potatoes, do they? My cat has figured out how to escape her harness, so we can't take her for walks because she wants to explore outside off leash, and we just can't do that. Like, she's old. I don't want her to like get hit by a car or anything. We did make a catio. Like, we have a dog kennel we cut a hole in that they can crawl through the window to get in. But she wants to explore the full outside, and she's very unhappy that we won't let her. Yella. I live in a closet in a house with 10 roommates. I live in a doorless basement that floods whenever it rains. I have an apartment with a difficult roommate. I have a 12 by 12 shed in someone's yard. I live in an internet cafe. Funny enough, most of these living situations have been... would describe... So, like, I lived alone in an apartment. Not a studio... Well, I guess... Yeah, not a studio. It had a bedroom and a kitchen. At one point. I lived with 3 roommates in a house once. Not 10. Like, that's a lot. But I was in a closet. Like, my bedroom was a closet. I've never lived in a basement. But I have lived in an apartment with a difficult roommate. I never lived in a shed. But I did live in an abandoned school for 3 months. Which, like, I would say is... Well, maybe that's closer to internet cafe. But, you know, it didn't have any... Like, it didn't have water or electricity. Well, no, they had electricity, no water. But no internet. And no cell service. So, like, not really internet cafe. I feel like a shed... Abandoned school. Well, okay, abandoned is probably the wrong word for it. Temporarily abandoned. I was working at a boarding school, and they were moving campuses to a new one. And so I lived in the new one, in exchange for labor, instead of having to do rent, because it was that or homelessness, right? So I lived in the no water, electricity, but no, like, cell service or Wi-Fi school in exchange for 8 hours a week of helping like install the stuff and prepping it for when the school eventually moved to the new campus, which honestly, you know, in retrospect was still a pretty good deal. Like, I've got my qualms with the company now that I'm not living there. You weren't squatting in a derelict building. No, not really. I guess it does kind of sound like that, but no, it was, I have my qualms with the company. In particular, the people who were helping me with the construction work were, like, other employees, and one of them was my boss, and there was a lot of, sexual harassment from him, that, it was one of those, like, cause this was pre-transition. So I was the token straight guy at a mostly queer, program, even though, like, and this is where, like, the sexual harassment intersects with biphobia. At the time, I identified as bisexual, but because the only person I had dated while working there was a woman, they just rejected that as as a part of queerness. But there was a lot of the, like, oh, we're gonna, like, be incredibly sexual and talk about how you look just like the sort of person that we are, like, attracted to in a work situation, like, while I'm your boss. So, like, that part sucked, but the whole, like, unrelated to them, the person letting me, like, actually live there when I was facing homelessness was, like, stellar. Like, fucking... I will not say a bad person... I'll not say a bad word about that, right? Like, that is awesome. We're getting all the lore drops. Sorry! ADHD. I need to fucking... I need to get medication, y'all. I finally found a therapist who's not shit in the area. It's been like 3 years since I moved up here. So I'm hoping that that'll help me start getting something to not get distracted. Where should my character live, though? True to life.
I'll say I live in an apartment with a difficult roommate because right now I live in a house with my wife, and boomer equals wife bad. I live in an apartment with a difficult roommate. I didn't find this guy. An old roommate of mine just had to move in, and they left and just stuck. Wait, this is true to life, though! That is how I ended up with, like, the shittiest roommate I've ever had. Is I moved in with a friend of a friend, and then a month later, she moved out, and, my name wasn't on the lease either. My name wasn't on the lease because, like, I had to move very quickly to get out of an abusive situation. And then she, like, moved out and she's like, okay, you know, it's you now. Like, this is your place and you gotta have it. And I'm like, what? So then I left because it turned out she just hadn't been paying rent or utilities for months. So yeah. Oh wait, I got two situations mixed up. Right, the guy moves out and then I move it, then someone else moves in that was shitty. That happened, just a different set of roommates. Danny Doyle, draw my life. I can't draw, sorry. But also, I feel like I'm oversharing. I don't know. I'm sure I don't want to overshare. I don't want to overshare. Like, I have had an interesting life. Like, every YouTuber has the interesting life moment, but I don't know. I feel like everyone has interesting stories. He's not the worst roommate I've ever had, so I can't complain too much. The biggest issue is just the complete lack of respect for any boundaries. He sleeps on the couch in the common areas. How the fuck is this my life? I had a roommate who slept on the couch naked. So in the housing situation where I lived in the closet with 3 roommates, right? I was working at a hotel in a kitchen, and one of the cooks, was facing homelessness. And so I was like, hey, yeah, I don't want you to be homeless. Like, you can crash on my couch for, like, you know, just, I talked to my roommates. I think we decided on, like, $100 a month, because they, you know, it just went towards rent, right? Yes, because it was, because there were 4 of us, so each of us took $25 off of our share of rent, and he was $100 per, but then he, like, so he was, sleeping on the couch was part of the, because we didn't have another room, but, like, better than sleeping on the street, right? But he would sleep naked, and I had to talk to him, because I worked nights, so I didn't know, and one of my roommates came up to me, like, a week later, like, hey, you know, Chuck's always sleeping naked, you know? And so I had to talk to him, be like, hey, you know, like, just, I'm not bothered by it because a body is a body, but my roommates were, and you know, I gotta respect their boundaries. And I feel like that's the sort of thing you ask about, right? Like, I mean, so I'm frequently naked. And even when I lived not with my wife, like, in your own house, right? You don't need to wear anything. But whenever I had roommates, that was a conversation we had before I would go out into common areas not wearing anything. Like, hey, what are our, like, boundaries in terms of that? I'm not bothered by naked bodies, but I understand that that's, like, a thing people are socialized into, or some people just, you know, trauma, or just are repelled by, or any number of other reasons, right? So, like, I'm not gonna take that as an assumption. And so that we had to have that talk, and then he didn't anymore. I guess, like, because he was under a blanket, he didn't realize that, like, the blanket would fall off at night or something. But yeah. He steals bites out. Different roommate, but yes, one of my roommates would steal my food. There's nothing sneaky about taking a huge bite out of a freshly made sandwich when there's 2 of us living here, even if I'm in the other room when it happens. And he infringes on my privacy all the time. If I close the door to my room, he'll just start screaming and sometimes even attack the door until I open it and then just walked away. He has a complex around closed doors. I did also have a roommate who screamed at me when my, like, door was closed and locked. But that was, like, a whole other... That's the guy I had to call CPS on because he was locking his kid in the closet. This is a wild stream. I know, I didn't expect... This is the ADHD stream. This is the... I'm gonna submit this to my therapist and be like, This is proof that just watch this 2-hour stream and give me Adderall. Probably not Adderall because my family has a history of addiction, but like give me something. Infringes on my privacy all the time. Yeah, so closed doors. Which of ooh, she's sitting up. She's got something's attention. Which of course means he doesn't close the door when he's doing his business. Almost like he wants me to watch him. At least once a week he somehow misses and leaves big pee puddles I always wind up stepping in. It's gotten to the point where I think he's causing lasting damage to the house. No matter what I say or do, it just doesn't get through to him. Anyway, sorry for the rant. I could go on for hours about this guy. I mean, he's a cat! Wait! Oh! I was describing humans. He's a cat, but he's a particularly horrible cat, and it's not like I can just give him away or anything. That would be cruel. Wait, he's a cat? Like an animal? Yeah, his name is Truck. I'm terrified I won't get my security deposit back because of what he's done to the place. That happened to me. My cat's pissed all over bedroom of the last apartment I ever rented, and so I didn't get the security deposit back. And then, like, 4 months later, I got a phone call from the power company. Apparently, I was still at that address as, like, there, even though I'd taken myself off. The apartment called back and put me back on, which I don't know how that happened. So then I had to pay like 4 months of power for a place I hadn't been. And it was a whole ordeal. I called them and I was like, you need to like explain this to them that I wasn't living there. And they were like, you need to pay the cleaning fees for the piss in the bedroom. And I'm like, why was I never contacted about this? And they were like, they mailed it to the apartment I had moved out of. And I'm like, how the fuck was that supposed to get to me? We assumed you set up mail forwarding, which, like, I don't know, I hadn't. I gave them my new address, but okay. They had my phone number and email from when I lived there. Cats are little balls of mayhem. Yeah. That was the biscuits timer. I gotta go get the biscuits. 5-minute biscuit break, everyone. 5-minute biscuit break. I build programmatic ads for a company nobody's ever heard of. I sell arts and crafts on eBay. I'm a first-year associate. I'm a streamer. I'm a student. I'm a teacher. I'm in the service industry. I guess streamer's the closest. I've been streaming more than I've been making videos this month, so yeah, streamer. I'm actually a streamer. Oh, no way, a fellow content creator. I guess we got a lot in common, Daniela. What are the odds? What sort of streams do you do? I play video games. Yeah, I mean, like, I do play video games. That's true. I mostly stream video games. That's cool. I'll have to check out your channel sometime this week. How do you like it? I used to like it, but now I don't know. We're getting fucking real, Chad. It used to be kind of fun and relaxing, but now that it's a job, it's gotten way more stressful. I'm struggling to keep a positive attitude. Believe me, I can relate. I still love what I do and I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it's definitely a shift that happened once it stopped being just for fun and started being something I had to do. I don't know if you're looking for advice, but something that's helped me is going all in on treating it like a job, setting real work hours, and taking at least one day off a week. That is actually good advice. You think that would hurt you? Yeah, so for me, it's like, okay. I'm responding to Nikki saying drawing solid boundaries when you work, even on content creation, helps a lot. So here's the thing for me, right? It's like, in some ways, the streaming, especially non-Fire Emblem streaming, is like halfway my way of doing that, because like, what I would consider my main content, right, is the videos, or video essays, or whatever you want to fucking call them, right? Streaming is like, I don't really take it super seriously. I just chill and play games, and if it's non-Fire Emblem stuff especially, I know it's not going to get a ton of views. I know it's not going to make me a lot of money. But I'm just playing something I want to play. And, like, I know it's not, I think in my head, like, I know it's not fully, but it's, you know, kind of, like, I don't know. Plus, I bought a lot of horror games in the Steam sale because I want to play them all in October. Which, like, I guess I could play them at the end of the year, too. Internet Common Etiquette, another YouTuber, did a stream last December that was, like, playing all the games that I bought with a tax write-off or whatever. And, like, that would be a fun stream. Like, just everything I bought to stream and forgot to do, doing it all at once. Would be kind of fun. Like, just copying from a larger creator. I'm a big believer in autistic. I was literally just about to say that in response to this. You don't call her mom, I'm an adult. Like, I'm moving my hand, pointing it. Yeah. Hey, are you hungry? I could pick us up something if there's a place to get food. Oh, I guess now that you mention it, yeah. Cafeteria has mac and cheese I don't hate. It's the building with a big cafeteria sign on it. Try not to get lost. I don't need you falling down the mine shafts. The other thing about the autistic Tabitha reading is it would explain why there are 2 types of food in her house. PB&J and mac and cheese. Like, I'll be for real, the only reason I don't have, like, only 3 different types of meals is my wife needs variety in her diet. Like, I would have pasta almost every day. I would have cereal for breakfast almost every day. On the days I don't have pasta, I would have, like, pizza. Like, pizza, pasta, put it in a box. Wait, no, now I've got the song stuck in my head. Okay. Anyone who hasn't seen the fucking video is going to think I'm an insane person. But my wife is obsessed with this video that's like, it's like a remix of an Olive Garden song or whatever. And it's like, pizza, pasta, put it in a box, take it out and put it on my cock. And it's just about pouring Olive Garden all over your dick. It's like fettuccine on my weenie and marinara on my balls. And because I mentioned pasta and pizza, now the song is stuck in my head. So it needs to come out my mouth or it'll just keep echoing in my brain. So again, anyone who hasn't seen that particular meme video thinks I'm a crazy person now. Accurately, I should say. But, I didn't know that was an autistic trait. I mean, again, not all autistic people have the same, like, traits, but it is a common one. It is a common autistic trait. But, you know, I mean, it's a spectrum for a reason, and there's, like, a wide variety of, traits or whatever that not everyone has. Like, special interests are a big one that, like, I think a lot of people think every autistic person has a special interest, and also, like, thinks that special interests are, like, all specific quirky fandom or historical thing, as opposed to, like, I mean, a lot of autistic people don't have special interests, but then, like, a lot of them are like, my special interest is, I mean, I'll just use an example from real life, because I've worked with, like, I've worked in mental health for a long time. I knew someone whose special interest was windshield wipers, like, literally just specifically windshield wipers, knew everything about windshield wipers and different, like, he would, because it was at a summer camp, and so whenever it was, like, pick-up drop-off day, he would go to all of the cars and be like, that one is this particular catalog model. Like, he had all the serial numbers for all the windshield wipers memorized, and he could, like, identify them based on the cars and what used them and whatnot. I'm getting distracted again. I'm leaving Tabitha's office to get mac and cheese. I need to stop getting distracted.